Hey guys, let's talk about how the military will pay you extra to contribute to your own retirement fund. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Luke, and I started MilVet Money because I don't think the military does a good job of teaching its members about personal finance. So I'm on a mission to provide solid financial education tailored specifically to members of the military and veterans. I would love for you to come be a part of the community, educating themselves on how to improve their lives and set themselves up for financial success now and in the future. One of the most powerful tools that the military gives you on your wealth journey is the TSP. It's up to you, as the military member, to ensure you're using it in the way that's most effective for your goals and situation. So today, we're going to talk about the TSP. The acronym TSP stands for Thrift Savings Plan. This may sound complicated, but you can really just think of it as a retirement account open only to military and federal government civilians. If you've ever heard of a 401k, the TSP is just like a 401k for military members. It's part of the compensation and benefits package provided to you by the government. So keep this in mind when planning how to use your TSP. To understand what you can get out of the TSP, it's important to first know what retirement plan you're currently enrolled in. If you're a member of the U.S. military right now, you're probably registered in one of two different retirement plans, the traditional High 3 retirement plan or the new blended retirement system. You can find out what retirement plan you're enrolled in by checking box 24 of your Leave and Earnings statement on MyPay. There are a lot of differences between these two retirement plans, and I'll do a full comparison in another video. However, what you need to know right now is that if you're enrolled in the blended retirement system, the government matches your TSP contribution as a part of your retirement plan. This is critical information to have when deciding how to structure your retirement, because if you choose not to contribute to the TSP to get the government match, you're essentially leaving money on the table that you could have every month to save for your future. So, how much of your contributions will the government match? Currently, if you are enrolled in the blended retirement system, the government will automatically contribute an amount equal to 1% of your basic pay each month into your TSP. This is what's known as the agency automatic contribution. This contribution is made whether you contribute anything to your TSP or not. The agency automatic contribution begins 60 days after you enter onto active service. Additionally, if you choose to contribute to your TSP, the government will match your TSP contributions up to 5% of your basic pay. The first 3% of your contributions are matched dollar for dollar, with the next 2% being matched at 50 cents for every dollar that you contribute. This sounds complicated, but what it boils down to is that if you contribute 5% of your basic pay to your TSP, the government will also contribute 5%. 1% automatic agency contribution, as well as a 4% match. Any contributions beyond 5% that you make will be unmatched by the government. If you join the military between January 1st, 2018 and October 1st, 2020, you were automatically enrolled to contribute 3% of your basic pay to the TSP. If you join the military after October 1st of 2020, you were automatically enrolled to contribute 5% of your basic pay to the TSP. If you were in the military before 2018 and opted into the blended retirement system, you were not automatically enrolled in any TSP contributions, and you would have to start those yourself if you have not already done so. You can always change these enrollments whenever you want, but this gives you a good idea of where you started. The matching contributions from the government will begin after you have been on active duty for 2 years. All this is to say, if you're enrolled in the blended retirement system and you choose not to contribute 5% of your basic pay in order to get the 5% government match, you are leaving part of your compensation on the table every month that you could be receiving. This money that you leave on the table could mean a difference of tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars in the future that you don't have. So, after you contribute to your TSP, where does your money go? There are two buckets in your TSP account, the Roth bucket and the traditional bucket. These names just indicate where in the process your money is taxed. Money that goes into the Roth bucket is taxed before it is placed in your TSP account. This allows you to invest and grow your money tax-free, and your withdrawals are also tax-free, provided they are taken out when you are at least 59 and a half years old. Money that goes into the traditional bucket is not taxed before being contributed. This lowers your tax bill in the present moment because you are shielding a portion of your income from being taxed by contributing it to the TSP. However, after this money is invested and grows, and you withdraw it in retirement, withdrawals are taxed just like any other income. So how do you pick which bucket to put your money into? This is a question that can have a lot of nuance for some people. However, there's an easy rule of thumb that I go by, which is just to look at how much taxes you think you'll be paying now versus in retirement. If you believe your income is higher now than it will be in retirement, then you would contribute to the traditional bucket, because you would pay less taxes on your money when you withdraw in retirement, while shielding your higher income from taxes at the present time. However, if you think you'll be making more money in retirement than you do now, you would then contribute to the Roth bucket. You would pay taxes on your lower current income and shield your growth and future withdrawals from taxes. When I talk about in retirement in this case, I'm talking about when you reach the age where you can take penalty-free withdrawals from your TSP. For your traditional account, you can take withdrawals at any time. But for your Roth account, in order for the withdrawals to be tax-free and penalty-free, otherwise known as qualified withdrawals, you must take these when you're at least 59 and a half years old. While you can choose which bucket to put your contributions into, the government's matching contributions will always be in the traditional bucket. So keep this in mind when you're making your plan. It's important to note that your TSP contributions are not managed through the TSP website. So even though you manage your TSP balance, investments, and withdrawals from tsp.gov, the official TSP website, in order to start or change paycheck contributions, you must go on MyPay, the government's payroll website. In 2024, you can contribute up to $23,000 to your TSP. If you have reached that limit, MyPay will automatically stop your contribution until you become eligible to contribute again the following year. Once you've contributed your money to the TSP, you need to make sure you're investing in the correct assets to balance your tolerance for risk with your desire for growth. The TSP has various investment options depending on how you feel about these two factors. There are both individual funds and life cycle funds. Individual funds are similar to mutual funds, just a big bundle of stocks or bonds that you can buy a piece of. The G fund is a safe but boring grouping of government bonds with very little risk, but also very little growth potential. The F fund is made up of corporate bonds with similar risk and growth potential to the G fund. The C fund follows the S&P 500, a list of the stocks of America's 500 largest public companies. The S fund is the Dow Jones Tracking Fund, which gives you access to smaller public companies with more risk but also more growth potential and upside. The I fund is an index of international companies, including those from developing markets. This, of course, comes with more risk, but also additional growth potential. In addition to the individual funds, the TSP also offers another investment option called life cycle funds. These funds are named life cycle, followed by a year. When selecting a life cycle fund, you want to choose the one with the year that is closest to the year you project yourself to retire. For example, I was born in 1999, so I would choose Life Cycle 2065, closest to 2064, the year I want to retire. These life cycle funds are managed by financial professionals who work at the TSP and are made up of a mix of the individual funds we've just discussed. The mixture starts out riskier at the beginning of your working life because higher risk offers you more growth potential. And if the market goes down, you have plenty of time to recover those funds throughout your working life. As you move through your life and get closer to retirement, the TSP professionals will automatically adjust the mix of funds in your life cycle fund. They will reduce risk and focus on capital preservation to ensure your retirement funds are there when you're ready to retire and need them. The advantage of these life cycle funds is that they are fire and forget. Once you set your investments to funnel into your life cycle fund, you don't need to worry about adjusting the mix on your own investments. Currently, the default investment for people newly enrolled in the blended retirement system is the life cycle fund most appropriate for their birth date. However, if you've been contributing to the TSP since before 2018, you should check what you're invested in right now. The previous default was the G fund, a fund with very little risk, but also very little growth potential. The bottom line, as with all investments, is to check your TSP, know your life situation, and ensure your investments are appropriate for your circumstances. Now, let's look at some numbers. We'll compare two E3s, both enrolled in the blended retirement system. In 2024, an E3 with less than 2 years of service makes $2,377.41 per month in basic pay. Obviously, most people won't be an E3 for the course of a whole 4-year enlistment, but let's just say average E3 pay for the sake of simplicity. One member, we'll call him John, does not contribute anything to his TSP. So the only money going into his TSP is the 1% automatic agency contribution after he hits 60 days in service. The other member, Sarah, immediately begins contributing 5% of her basic pay to her TSP traditional account, and she starts receiving the full match as soon as she passes 2 years in service. We will assume a 7% growth rate on their investments for this scenario. 7% is extremely realistic and is supported by the history of markets over time. At the end of his 4-year enlistment, John will have $1,260.83 in his TSP. Sarah, on the other hand, will have $10,932.51 in her TSP. And Sarah only contributed an average of $137 per month. She averaged $137 a month less in fund spending money than John, but she comes out on the other side of their 4-year enlistment with more than 8 times as much as him in her TSP. Keep in mind, we're just looking at a 4-year enlistment here. As your military career gets longer, or even simply examining the passage of time outside the military, the wealth gap continues to widen between those who contribute to get their full TSP match and those who don't contribute at all or contribute less than 5% and don't get the full match. Now, you can see why the TSP is such a huge and powerful wealth building tool and such a critical part of your compensation package, especially if you are on the blended retirement system. Even if you are not on the blended retirement system, you can still be contributing your own money to the TSP to take advantage of the low-fee investments and compound growth offered by the account. Today, we've seen how crucial the TSP is in planning your financial future, both inside and outside the military. We've talked about how much you and the government can both contribute to your future, and where that money can be invested once it's in your account. Finally, we used cold hard math to show how much of a difference contributing to get the full match can make. There are a lot of other cool things you can do with your TSP, such as taking out a loan for a down payment on the house, or leaving it as an inheritance to your children. If you are interested in seeing specific videos on how to create your TSP.gov account, start or adjust your contributions on MyPay, or any other specifics related to the TSP or investing in general, please let me know in the comments. As always, I'm not a financial professional, and this is not financial or investment advice. This is simply financial education to help arm you with the tools you need to be successful financially, now and in the future. If you got something out of this video, please drop me a like, subscribe, and consider sharing this with a friend to help them get the tools they need as well. Thank you for being here.